crazy to think about it though, because my dad would swim across. He would swim across to come work and then go back. And then I'm afraid to even get near the edge because there's bubbles coming in the water. You know, it's like just the difference and I think I realized like, you know, the privilege, I guess, and growing up and
This is a story of a dreamer in a river. It's a story that's been repeated all throughout the country, sometimes shouted in anger, others whispered in fear. In the RGV, Luis Corpus tells it too.
that connection, and I'm realizing this needs to be out there. And it's not for myself as, you know, as an artist to try to get, you know, my name and vinyl somewhere. It's because I think the stories and what it aims to communicate is far more important than any one individual.
After developing a love for art at the age of 9, Luis found himself as a professor of the subject across different schools for the last 16 years. And as of 2018, the creator of a collection that has put a spotlight on the Rio Grande River and the lives it's touched.
I didn't want to do something that was like fell into these typical trope of, you know, how other people see our communities. I wanted to try to get something, like capture something that was sincere, and I think at a fundamental level. And for me, it was using the Rio Grande as a visual metaphor.
Like a love letter, each piece reveals another story of a relationship to the river, not only with details and accents, but materials too. Luis has taken his storytelling a step further, using water directly from the Rio Grande on his portraits and sticks he's gathered along its banks, which are then burned and made into charcoal.
The process initially was, where do you go down to the river? And then, you know, making my way down, sourcing the water, taking just an empty jug and just dipping it into the river. I'm also making my own charcoal, my own inks, so getting branches that are near the riverbank. So I think the idea is, you know, they're also part of the river, the roots feed from the water.
It's a process he's been doing for the past 7 years, adding new creations, new formats. Some he's even traveled all the way to Germany to learn. The collection continuing to grow with stories of a younger generation dreaming of a better life. But recently, Luis decided to look for inspiration a little closer to home.
My parents came in undocumented, 1980. They came in undocumented, and so my reality has been shaped by theirs. As we remove ourselves from our own histories, we forget el esfuerzo, all the plight of the generation prior to us. And I realized how important it was for me to incorporate my dad into one of these drawings. When he was young, he was swimming over the river. He was coming and he was working, and he would go back and he would take his money back to his family in Mexico. The series, in attempting to evoke all these positive attributes of our culture, I felt it was also necessary not only to focus on the youth, but focus on the viejones. You know, focus on those, you know, our grandparents and our parents, because they're the ones that lived through a lot of those circumstances that have allowed us to have the privileges that we do today.
And though some of those viejones may never get to see the Rio Grande again, Luis's paintings brings them together once more. Not in screams or whispers, but in silence. Earth and life melded together forever on a page. To inspire and pass on a new story of a dreamer in a river.
And I asked myself, like, does it make a difference? But the thing is, I also ask myself, like, what would be, to the contrary? Like, if I don't try, then el opuesto, the opposite, would be to just, turn a blind eye. And I realized that that's not the type of person that, I would want my kids to know that their father is. Years from now, after, the gray just continues, and myself, un viejon, I don't want to look back and just think that, I just didn't do anything.